everybody, and welcome to the third installation of Love Republic Radio. Today we are speaking to the amazing, should I say Jules or Julian?
Whichever.
Okay, well, because...
I just write Jules because it's easier to type.
Yeah, well... Okay,
no,
so...
everyone pretty much when they're close to me calls me Jules, so...
Yeah, okay.
My mum calls me Julian, so...
So you know when you're in trouble or not?
Yeah.
So we're here with Jules, the creator of Informed Planet, which is an alternative social media. Welcome, Jules.
Hello. How are you? Good?
I'm excellent. I'm actually covered in paint because I got home really late from this little thing that I go to with my son, and we were painting, and I feel like an artist tonight, so... Well, we'll jump straight in because tonight is... it's actually 9:30 at night, so this is a lot more relaxed for me than any of the other podcasts I've done because I feel, it's 9:30 at night. I don't have any makeup on and I'm just relaxed and covered in paint, so... And we just wanted to speak about Informed Planet and informed debates and conversations really tonight. So, Jules, I'll stop rambling now and ask you how Informed Planet came to be.
Informed Planet started by... We had a wall on Facebook, and me and another friend called Tim and another one called Chris, we pretty much started a Facebook page called Informed Aussies, just putting information out that we thought was interesting, wasn't really stuff that generally people like to discuss.
Yeah.
So...
touchy topics that you don't usually see in the mainstream media.
Yeah, alternate topics, you could say. So, we started posting that, generally tried to keep it more centred around, Aussie, Aussie theme, which generally ends up swaying and hitting a worldwide thing pretty easily. But, and then we started a group called Informed Aussies Discussions on Facebook, where everyone was going in and chatting, and everything was going good, getting good discussions, meeting nice people.
Yeah.
And
that's where we met.
Yeah, exactly. Meeting good people around Australia, and then we noticed that the page was getting played around with or whatever. There was likes disappearing. At one instance, they were dropping, it was pretty much dropping like a tick every time you refresh. There was the likes gone, and in a day it dropped over 1,000, 1,500 or something. We had like 5,000 and it went down to, I think, 2,600, so we're even more than that. So, so we sort of got over the page, and then we were using the group. But then we started thinking, all right, what happens if the page went? Page disappeared, we got no control over it, so a few of us got started talking, and we talked about starting our own site. So me and a few others looked into it, me and Tim looked into it, and we looked at options, and we decided to go with a certain platform, and then we sort of all got together and sort of rallied a few of us and put in money and got it started. So
and you've done a fantastic job. It's amazing.
So so it's actually going pretty good now. I think the last time I looked at it, it was over 2,700 people. Over the last week or so, we've been getting about 100. Even I think 2 days ago, we got 150 new people signing up in a day, and it's all word of mouth.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really good. People are liking what they see, and people are liking the fact that they can discuss, and then they're not going to get people jumping on them and saying no, and everyone just seems to walk away know when to walk away from the conversation, which is really good.
Exactly. That's part of the reason why I absolutely jumped on board with Informed Planet, because you guys encourage intelligent debate rather than witch hunts, like, because we all have different opinions. Like I mentioned before about the vaccination, like that's such a touchy subject in Australia. And some people are very pro-vaccination, some people are very anti, and then there are others who are pro-choice. And we could all get together in Informed Planet and discuss it, like the 3 different views, and still walk away with our heads on, there's no beheadings. It was just always very intelligent discussion and say, well, you may have this opinion, but what about this? And that's what I love, and that's why I really believe that we're moving more into an age of where, because so many people are a lot more pro-choice. They're not anti or for anymore. It's like, okay, well, I have this belief, but I also believe that you have the right to have your belief. And that's what you guys try and promote, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the only way that you can learn is by discussing and talking. You can sit there and reading it, but you're only going to understand it in the way that you want to understand it, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can, 2 or 3 people can read the same article or the same lot of information and sit down and all have a different point of view of what they've read.
Yeah.
And the only way you're going to improve your understanding of something is to discuss it openly and be willing to change your opinion of something as well. Because if you're not going to change your opinion or not be willing to listen to have the opportunity to have your opinion changed, then your opinion on, or even if it's on one certain topic, then your opinion on all topics are questionable.
Yeah.
Because you're not open-minded about it, and you're set in your own path.
Yeah, some people are like a dog with a bone, right? And that just echoes throughout their whole entire life.
Especially with certain topics like vaccines.
Yeah.
So with a lot of people, you say the word vaccines and they shut down.
Yeah, and they cringe. No, I don't want to speak about this topic. It's like me with homeschooling, because I homeschool my son sometimes.
Yeah.
I get a bit like, people say, oh, your son's ready to go to school next year. It's like, oh, so what are you doing? Oh, I'm homeschooling. And then just you see the walls kind of go up. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
I almost avoid sometimes talking to some people about it, because they just have those walls go up, rather than having the open mind, which we're all trying to encourage. And the best way to have an open mind is to inform yourself, right?
That's correct.
And be open to new ideas, and have the ability to listen as well as provide your point of view. So, and I just love that you've provided that. And I was sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, I said, well, yeah, it is something that we're trying to push and trying to promote, and it's working pretty well for us, and it's attracting quite a few people. So there's other people that also feel like that.
Yeah. So your site is a place, really, not. I was reading on the piece on Digital Journal about you guys, and how you could almost be assured that you're not going to see pictures of Miley Cyrus in your newsfeed compared to Facebook, which I thought was quite funny. And they mentioned that it was a place for more intelligent conversation and collaboration, rather than just pictures of people's dinners and pictures of Miley Cyrus. So I thought that was a great way of putting it. It's a more intelligent social network where you actually have a purpose for being there, I guess. It's to discuss social topics.
Yeah, that's right. So I suppose there's more to being social than sharing your dinner pictures or going on Facebook and feeling that you've got a connection with someone because you're seeing that they've put a status update that day.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's taking social media a step too far. I think social media should be more of a platform where we could connect and learn off each other, and then we should still have that connection in day-to-day life and rely on that other than social media as a way to communicate.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, because social media, it's a whole new ball game for us. And it, like you said, that we assume that we have a connection with people because we see their status updates, but we don't necessarily. And there is you can only, I have nothing against cat videos. I think they're hilarious, but you can only watch so many, and to have your newsfeed full of them all the time, it would be nice and refreshing almost to have something that can step it up a bit and give you a little bit more, like use a little bit more of your brain. And I really do believe that's what Informed Planet provides. And it is such an accepting place that you can post anything, and people are either going to, if they know something on the topic, then they will interact with that and discuss it, and if they don't, then they'll leave it and sit back and watch what unfolds. And it's really a place for growth, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, we've had a lot of times where there's been a discussion going on, and then later on down the discussion, someone will jump in and say, thanks.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this, and now it's something I want to look into, or something similar. So it's great seeing that as well.
Exactly. And it's bringing almost the taboo to light, because you know how you say that when you have dinner conversation, you should never talk about government or religion because it always ends in a fight. Whereas you're basically encouraged here to talk about these taboo subjects, or subjects that we all know about, or some people not so much, and saying, hey, you know what, these are subjects we should talk about because these are massive subjects that affect our everyday lives, like whether we know it or not. Like politics, obviously, we're governed, we live in Australia, we have a government that's bound by a constitution, and we also swear on the Bible when we go to court. And I can't say I actually know too many people that actually practice religion these days, but it's still written into our laws, and there's no actual separation of religion and state here, is there? Not like there is in America.
Well, I don't think there's separation in America either.
Oh, really?
No. Well, when you think about it, they say God bless America. So.
Yeah, true. True that.
But, being able to talk about information, it's funny having the comparison on Facebook with everything we've been saying. You chuck a cat video up, you get some interaction on it, and then you chuck an article just say about Syria.
Yeah. And
then, you might get one like.
Yeah, exactly.
But likes aren't what you want. You want discussion.
Yeah.
And but at least a like's an acknowledgement. So
yeah, exactly.
But you post the same article on Informed Planet, and generally it will turn into a bit of a discussion, or someone posting a couple of other links that might be related to the topic, or so it's broadening your knowledge, and we are governed by governments and all that, and if we don't keep up to date, how are we going to keep them in check?
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the massive, well, it's still a massive taboo here, and so many people have so many different opinions, and many of the opinions that people have are formed by the mainstream media. And I really believe that Informed Planet helps give you an outside perspective of what agenda Fairfax is trying to push, for example. Because
I just like seeing Informed Planet as like another form of alternate media.
Exactly.
So, you've got, the alternate news media. You've got, the networks like YouTube that have given people an opportunity to, go out there with a microphone and a video and go and ask their own questions like, we are change, etc. For example, if we didn't have YouTube and we didn't have that platform, people wouldn't be able to do that and go and ask the questions that if you go and work for the mainstream that you wouldn't be allowed to ask, and even if you did ask, you'd probably get sacked and it wouldn't get printed anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So
because they have they have politics of their own, mainstream media. So yeah, exactly. I believe so much in independent media, and the internet has obviously given us, like you said, that platform. And a lot of people moan a little bit about how, everyone's become a journalist, or everyone's become a blogger, or everyone's become someone with this huge opinion. But you just have to pay attention to who you're listening to or what you're reading, and it's given you so many more perspectives than mainstream media. You're not just getting the Courier Mail in your driveway anymore. You could go online and look at Russia Today or Informed Planet or wherever, or Tot News. They're Australian, so, and they do great work. So yeah, it's great. And if you jump on Informed Planet, you've got people from all over the world. Who's that? There's someone I was speaking to today from America. And there's people from Sweden and everywhere.
Yeah, we get people from everywhere. Probably the largest groups from America, then Australia, and then pretty much from over there. From there, it's pretty much distributed. Like, there's even someone on from Egypt today. So
yeah, wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting that it's getting out there.
I love that.
It's not advertised at all. It's all word by mouth.
Yeah.
It's all community funded. So
yes.
Yeah. So if we do get money, what better stuff to spend on than advertising?
Yeah. So you guys, you're obviously not going to sell our information, are you? We're not the product, even though it is free.
Yeah. So we don't actually ask for any information. So anyone can sign up. It's free to sign up. You can post what you want.
Yeah. You can have any name you like.
Asks you for your, username, password.
Yeah.
Date of birth and email address. So how accurate you want to be in the information you put in is up to you, I guess. So,
yeah.
So so we're only there for discussions, and the whole point of starting it is the whole factors, as I was saying earlier, that the pages on Facebook do get censored, and they've got algorithms, and they, I think, to a degree, the censorship isn't for what most people think it is. I think it's more a way that they keep the posts from going out to encourage people to spend money in boosting their posts to get a wider audience. But you shouldn't have to boost your posts, or you shouldn't have to pay to boost your posts. Your post should just be there for everyone to see if they like your page. So
exactly.
The way that Informed Planet works is it's more like a group on Facebook where everyone that posts, everyone can see what's posted. Then of course you've got your security settings when you go to post, so you can target it to friends or to a certain group or to an individual but everything that generally is posted, it's just straight out. The last thing that was posted is at the top, and then you can sort it out between most recent and popular, but there's no algorithms. There's no, you have to pay to see, or
Yeah.
Our sponsors don't like that post, so we've got to remove it.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. So that's another point. So that's, we're not going to gain from selling anyone's information, because that's not what we started the site for.
Yeah.
End of the day, if we start selling people's information, we're the ones that are going to lose out, because everything that we've built and everything that we've fought for and everything that I've said on this podcast will be
null and void.
Anymore. Yeah, that's right.
And that's why a lot of people are coming to you guys, because they appreciate that you're...
And it's not something that happened overnight either. It's something that we've worked hard for quite some time, and put, at one point I was actually turned around to my wife Michelle and I said, actually work on this more than, I feel like I work on this more than I do my real job.
Yeah.
And that's when it was all still fairly new. Like a few months ago, we launched in March, so that was only like a few months after we launched, and there was still a lot of changes and a lot of work to be done, and it wasn't growing and had no way to get the word out there, and because it was so different. At first, I got a lot of negative response. People were very suspicious why someone would set something up like that.
Yeah.
I suppose. But
exactly.
I suppose that's natural.
So you don't work for the government, right?
Government. This question again, no.
You'll always get that question. I know the answer to that. I had to ask it though, right?
I'm sure with your podcast at some point you're going to say something with people with a majority of people don't agree with, and they're going to say, you said that because of some type of influence or something. And it's natural, and people just have to understand that everyone's got the right to their own opinion. You don't have to agree. And simple as that. Exactly,
and that's why I just love Informed Planet so much, and I loved Informed Aussies when it was on Facebook. Before you guys moved over to Informed Planet, it's just because that's where I started, and that's how I got to know you and a whole bunch of other members. And then on Informed Planet, I met your wife Michelle, and she's amazing as well. And you're all very well, I guess, informed, so you don't have these beliefs that you cling to for dear life. You're actually quite willing to look into a subject and discuss it and listen to other people's opinions. And that's what I think that we've missed out on so much because of censorship, and obviously, like, going back even just as little as 100 years, you'd get in a lot of trouble if you spoke out about science and things like that. I mean, you can talk about anything here and discuss anything here. Like, you see some people, I mean, I know this is going to scare some people off, but talking about aliens, but you've got the right to talk about it, It's a discussion that people can have, and we talk about current events and like you mentioned before, Syria, and they're all things that, even though we're just here in Australia and we say that we're in a very lucky country, in a way definitely we are, but then you hear people talking about Syria and the awful things that are happening and the amount of news that's been pushed on top of us at the moment about it. It's like, well, hey, how about the other countries that have been experiencing this for years without our mainstream media commenting on it, like Chad and places like that? And it's like, wow, yeah. And it's just so much beautiful discussion that brings things to light in your consciousness and makes you aware, rather than just relying on news.com.au to inform you, which is very much one-sided, because that one person has a view, but if you look at the views of many people, it's going to help you grow a lot more, I believe.
Yeah, and I suppose with mainstream media, they've got to keep in line with their editors, and
Yeah.
their editors have someone who needs to tour as well.
Exactly.
And then essentially the person that owns all the media outlets is going to have their views projected in one way or another.
Yeah. And you'll never, to me, I say you'll never avoid that, because I know as a magazine editor, I wouldn't just, for example, run a story on Syria saying how, I mean, everything that happened in Syria was awful, and I know the US wanted to intervene there, but it's like, well, what about the other countries, you know, that have been suffering for so long, and now all of a sudden we just have one country that's been brought to our attention by mainstream media. And so I wouldn't personally say, yes, I will run a story on Syria, because I would feel like, well, you know, what about the other countries? Let's run a story on about the idea of what's happening in certain countries, and not just focus on one, focus on the crime that's being committed all around the world, like human rights and things like that. So rather than just shining a spotlight on a tiny area when there's so many, and we forget that, especially living in Australia.
Yeah, it's easier to forget what goes on around the world, especially because we rely on our mainstream media to tell us what's going on.
Exactly.
And they're really only going to report on what interests them.
Yeah.
And what interests I suppose, their message, the general message of what their newspaper or radio outlet's going to push. Like, for example, when you listen to talkback radio, and someone calls up and has a different view, a lot of the times they're shut down very quickly by the radio host.
Yeah.
That's doing the show, and cut off, and the call's ended, where you sit there thinking, and you know, you'll be in your car driving, or thinking, all right, that person had a pretty good question, and you've just pretty much made him look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And cut him off. And number one, it's going to discourage people from calling in and having a different opinion to what's being said on the radio. And number two, it's going to also discourage people in speaking out in day to day.
Exactly.
Because, you know, subconsciously they're thinking, wow, that guy just got belittled. I don't want to get belittled. So, you know, and it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. And
because,
you know, once again, it's pushing someone else's opinion.
Yeah. Because we're taught that it's bad to so if someone came on and spoke to us now and said something to me that made me feel like, oh, maybe I am wrong, like, we're taught that being wrong is really bad. It's like, well, being wrong is not necessarily bad, but the new idea that's presented to you is an opportunity to grow.
That's right.
So, and that's what, bringing it back to Informed Planet again, but that's what, because you guys aren't just, you're not a news source, you're a social media website where people post and discuss, and you're not censored, and you can say whatever you like, basically.
Yeah, we pretty much say as long as it's not hateful.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. You know, as long as you use your common sense, you're going to be right. And, you know, in the time that we've started, we haven't removed one post, one inappropriate post. So, it seems to actually encourage the right crowd, which is good, people that want to discuss and learn.
Yeah.
And, you know, as you said, someone, you know, if someone posts an alien post, which we don't get that very often, you know, and that's something you're not interested about, just keep scrolling.
Exactly.
You know, it's that easy. You're not interested about it, just keep scrolling the next story or next post or, you know, next bit of information that someone's posted might be interesting. And it's just not a wall where people post. You got the blog section, you got people that actually actively go up and write blogs. and contribute there. We've also got the forums. I like the forums.
Yeah.
I see the forums more of like an archive, a place where, you know, you can start a discussion and then it can be a discussion that happens over time. When something's posted in the feed, it gets lost easy.
Mm-hmm.
So in the forum, if just say you wanted to discuss going back to vaccines, for example,
yeah,
or whatever other topic, you can start a post in there, and as you find more information, you can go and add to the thread, and then that's a good archive, a good source of information later on for someone else that might be browsing the site and see the thread and go, oh yeah, and click on it, and then they've seen all your information. It's just not going, looking at an article and going, oh yeah, that article's pretty cool, and moving on and forgetting about it, or losing that piece of information.
Yeah.
So I think having a place where we've got a central point of information where, you know, I've had times where I've gone, I remember an article I read months ago where I read this bit of information and I'll go and look for it. I can't find it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't find it, you can't prove it. That information means nothing anymore.
Yeah.
Or in a lot of people's eyes. Still means something to you, I suppose. But
yeah.
Yeah, so it's good having a place where we can keep that information, and we can keep backups. If we done, you know, people go, but you can do that on Facebook. Facebook doesn't like your group one day, and you go log on, or your account, people's accounts get deleted every day.
Yeah, exactly.
And you go on, there goes all your information. Mm-hmm. There goes your archive. What control did you have? Nothing. Well, we're able to, or we take backups multiple times a day.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if the website did go down, we'd have a backup pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You know, so we've got control of our information, we've got access to our databases, and it's another advantage of having a community like ours.
Exactly, and it's good because someone was saying today that, oh, I discovered this and I'm so happy because it's Australian. But even though it's Informed Planet, it's meant for everybody, but it's kind of nice at the moment how it's started off small, you know, and it's Australian and it's something that we've got access to. You guys, you like the administrators, you guys aren't nameless or faceless. I mean, I didn't know who Mark Zuckerberg was for years.
Yeah, I think I've actually had a lot of times where people just, because with the chat option, you see everyone that's online, and some people just go and just click on someone random, and they'll message you, and it'll pop up, and they'll start chatting to you about the site.
Yeah.
And they don't know that you're an admin. And then you'll go, I've actually
created
one
this.
of the people that created the site, and they're actually in shock. They're actually impressed that they can actually have contact and talk to someone that actually created the site, and and have a person talk back like a normal person.
Yeah.
You know, not treated like a number, like I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
You know, I get support emails all the time. People can't log in or have problems, and I would help them through, and I will get responses of how impressed people are that I've taken the time out to help them, and, you know, they've had similar problems with Facebook or other big networks, and they don't really get a response, or it's just a standard response that's been cut and pasted into their email.
Yeah.
So, people like the face. That's not just a face, it's someone that they can actually talk to and actually contact easy, and
exactly,
they can get answers from.
Yeah. But as you grow and get bigger, it's not going to be as easy, but because you do intend on getting bigger, right? To have a whole...
It's a natural progress to get bigger.
Yeah.
We're getting bigger already. And
exactly.
And we're not even even trying. So
yeah, and you're
as
not.
it grows, it's going to get bigger, and you know, I'm always going to try to be what I am now.
Yeah.
But I suppose to an extent, at the beginning, a lot of the posting that was done was by me.
Yeah.
Because I used to think, oh no, if people come on and they don't see people interacting, they're not going to interact. And I find now I don't even need to do that. So it's actually opening up a lot more time for me to interact with people on a more personal level. So
yeah.
that's good as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And you're not getting paid for this. You're just doing it out of love at the moment. And
yeah, it's a hobby.
Yeah. And you do obviously rely on donations as well, because it's not a cheap process to have all of the, the storage and getting the program running. I mean, if I wanted to go and start my own social networking site, I'd have no idea. None. I would be like, just go back to Facebook, kind of thing. I'd have no idea. So what you've done is really phenomenal. And we've gone well and truly over our 30 minutes, which is the first. I wasn't even paying attention. I'm just being interested in listening to you, Jules. So, but yeah, we'll have to get you on again.
No problem, anytime.
And get more specific. We'll have to pick a topic, I reckon. And you guys have just started your own podcast as well, which is awesome. And I love how I think Tim, one of the administrators, said that you guys have anyone can come on the podcast and it basically be like table talk.
Yeah, that's the plan. We're planning to eventually, which it's on our to-do list, which our to-do list is pretty long.
Yeah.
We plan to have like a round table discussion where we'll have a few topics suggested, and people can pick up one or two topics, and then 4 or 5 people can nominate a time, and they can go and head off and discuss, and then come back go head off and research, and then come back and discuss on a podcast. And as I've said before in previous discussions, is the good thing about a podcast is it's like having a discussion where you've got no input in. So it's like sitting there in a room and listening to someone else's conversation.
Exactly, like being a fly on the wall.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's good to have different people's opinions on different topics, and that's actually going to allow us to talk about the same topic multiple times, because you're going to have different people on the podcast. You're going to get a different point of view.
Absolutely.
About each topic, so that's going to be good.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. I hope to be on one of those podcasts one day.
I hope so too.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much for your time, Jules. And it's what's the web address for Informed Planet?
It's informedplanet.org.
.org. Okay. Awesome.
And there's also a iPhone app and an Android app if you go to the respective stores and just search for Informed Planet.
Yeah, I'll put all the links to all of this in the description below, so you can access it all very easy. The app's awesome. I love the new app. I'm on the iPhone, so.
Yeah, we've actually got a new app coming out for the iPhone.
Oh, okay.
We actually submitted it and got rejected because it was a couple of days before the new operating system came out, and they wanted us to make some changes. So we've got that done, and we resubmitted it the other day. So Apple's got extensive testing. So that takes about 2 weeks. So you should, maybe the end of next week, you should have a new app, which is a lot better.
Oh, okay. Wow, I thought I already had the new app, but yeah, it still looks good.
The new one's even better.
Okay, well, I'll let everybody know when the newer version comes out for Apple as well. But thank you very much for your time, Jules.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
And thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a wonderful day, night, wherever you are, and we will see you next time.